Hello, everyone, and welcome to the online Pioneer Preview event for counseling services. My name is Christina Papa, and I serve as the Assistant Director for Admissions of eCommunications. Some quick notes before we get started. Please keep your microphones and cameras off at all times during the event. We have a chat feature available to you. It is monitored by admissions as well as counseling services staff, so please ask away. At this time, I have the privilege of introducing Dr. Denise Lucero Miller, Director of the Counseling and Psychological Services Department. Her professional interests include women's issues, trauma recovery, multiculturalism, and supervision and training. In addition to Dr. Lucero Miller, we have with us today Dr. Cristina Rodriguez, staff psychologist and embedded housing psychologist. Her professional interests include first-generation college students, intersectionality of cultural identities, relationship dynamics and issues, grief and loss, and resiliency. I will now turn it over to Dr. Lucero Miller. Take it away.
Well, hello again, everyone. I'm Dr. Lucero Miller, and Dr. Cristina Rodriguez will be answering questions for you today. So please feel free to submit as many as you'd like in the chat function. We're really happy to be here with you today. I think it's great that we're doing a Pioneer Preview and that you're getting an opportunity to learn about Texas Women's University. We work in the Counseling and Psychological Services office on campus, and basically we are the mental health agency for students enrolled on all three campuses at TWU. We are really here to be your support system to help you navigate multiple transitions, stressors that may come up, relationship issues, adjustment to college, all kinds of things. We really want to be of service to you in any way that we can. Our mission statement is based on providing high quality and culturally competent mental health services. We tend to be the place on campus where folks come when they're not sure where else to go. It's also a place that's very affirming, inclusive, accepting, and welcoming of folks from all different diverse identities. We really work on providing students with services that support the development of them as a whole person. There's so many things that go into being in college for 4 years, and what we want to do is help you foster your sense of resiliency. We certainly want to help you maintain emotional well-being. We offer a lot of programming and therapy services that enhance interpersonal effectiveness, which is particularly important when you're going out into the work world, working with other people. And then certainly we want to do everything we can to help you be academically successful. As I mentioned earlier, we are committed to creating a very inclusive environment in which we honor individual differences and provide affirming support to our diverse student body. I think that's one of the things that's so remarkable about TWU is that we have such a diverse student body. So, if that's something that you're interested in, and just in terms of learning about new people, learning about new cultures, immersing yourselves in different ways of being, TWU is certainly the place for that. We also collaborate with faculty and staff quite a bit, and you'll see us out and about on campus in various forms, offering guest lectures or workshops or different outreaches on all kinds of preventative mental health topics. We want to really teach people skills, even in the classroom. Some examples of something we might come in and talk about might be how to deal with test anxiety, how to improve communication with a professor, how to increase your self-esteem. These are the kind of skills that all of us can use at some point in life. We also have a full staff of licensed psychologists, and we also have a training program with psychology interns and TW graduate students. So we do quite a variety of things at our center. In terms of our clinical services, we offer individual therapy. We offer couples therapy. So if you are interested in getting therapy with your partner, as long as you're enrolled as a student, then you can come in and receive couples therapy. And we also have a very extensive group therapy program. So each semester in the fall and the spring, we offer a variety of different groups. There's usually something for everyone. Some of the groups that we typically offer include things such as healing from family pain, increasing self-esteem, addressing depression. This year we had a first generations college student group. We have sexual assault recovery groups. We have self-compassion groups. We have just basic therapy groups that are aimed at helping you understand yourself and other people better. And a lot of students really like the group therapy setting because they're with other students, they're learning from other people, and they just can be really, really helpful for a wide variety of issues. To get into any of our therapies, the first step is that you come in and you do an intake with a therapist who will talk with you for about 30 minutes about what's going on and what your pressing concerns are, and make a referral for you, either to individual therapy, couples therapy, group therapy, or sometimes a combination of those. There are also instances where sometimes we feel like a referral in the community would be better fit for your needs, and so we'll work with you to secure that as well. Another unique service that CAPS offers is crisis intervention 24/7. So basically, at any point during the week, during business hours, if you're feeling particularly overwhelmed or you're experiencing some sort of mental health crisis, and everybody defines that differently, you can walk right in the middle of the day, and there will be a therapist on call to speak with you, to help you stabilize your situation and help you figure out next steps. We also offer that service after hours by working with the Department of Public Safety, which basically involves anybody who might be in crisis calling the Department of Public Safety, asking to speak with a therapist on call, and then they will connect you with that person. As we all know, things aren't convenient necessarily when it comes to a crisis. So during the day, you can walk in. After hours, we have on-call services for you. If you are a student who may need psychiatric consultation, either because you have previously been on medication and you want to continue that medication, or you're interested in starting medication for issues such as anxiety or depression, we also have a part-time psychiatrist that CAPS clients have access to. So as long as you're in therapy, you would be able to see our psychiatrist. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we do just a great deal of outreach programming across campus. You may get involved in a student group where you want to have a speaker come and talk about a particular topic, such as how your group can work together more effectively, or how you can develop their leadership skills, or how you might even resolve conflict within the group. Those are the kind of presentations that my staff can handle, no problem at all. So one of the things that I often encounter with students, particularly first year students, is this idea of, why would I want to go in for counseling? Only people who are really losing it or completely overwhelmed or can't get out of bed in the morning are the ones that would want to go to counseling. And what I want to do is dispel that myth. I think there's a lot of stigma around seeking mental health treatment. And one of the things that I can tell you about CAPS is we are incredibly busy. And the reason we are busy is because students use our service because it's helpful. And there is a misconception when you think that you have to have a serious mental health problem to come in and get support. We have students who come in for a wide variety of issues. It may be that they're not getting along with their roommate. It may be that they're homesick. It may be that they're feeling really overwhelmed in their relationship. It may be that they have some unresolved from the past that they know they need to work on, and they're finally able to have access to services to be able to do that. One of the things that's really beneficial about our site is that as a student who pays student fees, you are eligible to sessions, and they are no cost to you. They're already included in your student fees. There's a small charge for psychiatry sessions, but for therapy sessions, those come in your student fees. So lots of different reasons why people might come in. Sometimes it's just the support for the transition to college, which can be overwhelming. You're away from home, you're meeting new people, you're navigating different personalities, you're trying to figure out what you want to do for the rest of your life, and we can offer support with that. The other thing that we often work with students on is just enhancing their coping skills. We know that life can be full of a lot of beauty and a lot of joy, and at times it can be really difficult and stressful and overwhelming. So it's important that we all have like a tool bag of coping skills that we can rely on. And sometimes we haven't gotten those growing up, or we need to refine those in some ways. And these are the kind of coping skills that will help you not only in your personal life, but will really help you in your professional life as well, when you're on the job and things are stressful and you need to manage that effectively. We also encourage folks to come in for services early on in the semester or early on in your academic career. If you notice that there's a particular issue that's coming up for you and you're bothered by it, you can't seem to shake it, you keep running into the same kind of patterns that aren't serving you well, the earlier you get into therapy to address those, the more likely you are to prevent future problems or problems becoming bigger than they need to be. It's sort of this idea of like, let's nip it in the bud early on. The other benefit of seeking counseling or therapy is that it increases your self-awareness, which is a really important skill for all of us to have, just in terms of knowing who we are, knowing what we value, knowing how we come across to other people, knowing things about ourselves to help us be as successful as we can be, both personally and professionally. As I said before, you don't have to have a serious mental health issue. And if you do have a history of some kind of mental health issue, we can also help you with that as well. I have a team of incredibly talented staff who are very well trained. And so there are lots of things that we can assist you with. One of the things that I often say to parents is that the best reason for students to get in to get the support they need is because we know, and the research consistently tells us, that as students, when you are doing well emotionally, when you are doing well in terms of your mental health, when you're managing your emotions effectively, your coping is good, you're just feeling good overall, we know that this leads to enhanced academic performance. You do better in school when you don't have these other stressors floating in the back of your mind. So that's another reason. I encourage parents to encourage students to come in and get services, and I encourage you directly to do that as well. You don't want to have to be trying to focus on school, maintaining your grades, figuring out next steps, trying to get into graduate school, and have these emotional things going on. And it's really important to get support for that early on. So recognizing that you may be coming primarily to the Denton campus, maybe Dallas, maybe Houston, or at some point, if you're in one of the allied health programs, you may be going to Dallas or Houston. And we actually have sites at all three campuses that are staffed by licensed psychologists. So if you were to start services in Denton and you transfer to the Dallas campus, there would be services available for you as well there. So as long as you're enrolled in a current semester, we can provide those services for you. And this is just a slide that tells you who the different people are. In Denton, we are located in West Jones Hall, right not in the middle of campus, but down near the new residential facility, Parliament Village. So we're pretty easy to spot, and we've got our phone number on there for all three campuses. If you're not comfortable today asking a question through the chat function or asking a question directly, please don't hesitate to give us a call at that number right now because we're doing telehealth. All you have to do is leave a message, and then myself or one of my staff will get back to you, and we'd be glad to answer any questions that you might have. And I think that's all I have for right now. Want to see what I can do to be helpful just in terms of answering questions or any other things that might be coming up. Or Christina, Dr. Rodriguez, have you got any questions that you can share with the group?
Sure. So I have a couple that just started right now. So one of them is, do the services cost anything, and are they available to graduate students as well as undergraduate students?
Okay. Like I had said, they are included in your student fees. And so, one of the things that I tell students is it's a great opportunity to get in and to see a licensed professional, basically for free. They're included in your student fees. The fee that actually comes to us is pretty nominal. And so I really encourage people to take advantage of that. If you need to see the psychiatrist, there is a small fee for that. But compared to what it would be privately, it's much, much lower.
Great. Another question is, what are your hours?
Okay. In the summer, we're open 8 to 5. In the fall and the spring, we are open until 6 on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. The rest of the week, we're just open until 5, but we like to have a couple of days with some later appointments. If you are assigned to therapy, you'll work with your therapist to find a time during the week that works with your schedule. And we have a wide variety of times because we have so many therapists available. Our group therapies are also dispersed throughout the week at different times.
Perfect. Another question is, how many services do we get as a student, and are the services the same for all three campuses?
There's a little bit of a difference. Denton is our main campus where we have the largest staff, and we also have our internship program and our graduate training program. So we're able to offer more services there in terms of group therapy. Dallas and Houston, they do a lot of workshops, but they don't necessarily do group therapy. And what happens when you come in for that initial intake assessment, and your therapist will talk with you, find out a little bit about your history, find out what's going on, and at that point, we'll make a determination about, hey, I think you could really benefit from 4 to 6 sessions of individual therapy, and I also want to refer you to this anxiety management group. So we kind of tailor it to whatever it is that you've got going on and what services we can offer to help you the most.
All right. Do you always have to schedule an appointment, or are there walk-in appointments available too?
There are the only walk-in appointments we have are for crisis services, and we really reserve those just for folks who are really having a crisis and need to be seen immediately. But particularly if you get in early in the semester, you just call our front office and we will schedule you. And people get in, especially at the beginning of the semester, within a couple of days, they will have an intake and we'll get assigned to a therapist. One of the reasons that I really stress people coming in early in the semester is that as the semester progresses, we get very, very busy, and more people are calling and trying to get in, and slots start getting filled up. So the later we get in the semester, we sometimes have a waiting list for services. Again, that's why getting in early in the semester is your best chance for getting in with a therapist quickly.
Thanks. Will you get the same therapist each time you come in?
Absolutely. You are assigned to an individual therapist, and that will be your therapist. If you are in group therapy, you may have a different group therapist because it's a different treatment modality, but you will have the same therapist.
Okay. Do you honor 504 accommodations? If so, would I need to meet individually with a counselor to discuss what could be possible?
Well, the first step would be going to disability student services and registering with them for whatever kind of accommodations you might need, and then doing an intake with us, and then we would work together with them to get you what you needed.
Perfect. You said that there are internships. Could you explain that a little bit more?
Sure. We have actually we have a training program that is for psychology residents, basically. And each year we do a national surge, and we train 3 psychology graduate students who are in their final year of finishing their PhD. And part of what they have to do for that is they have to do a year-long internship. So it's a highly competitive, selective process. We choose 3 people each year, and then they work with us full time for a year, and we mentor them, we supervise them, and they get their hours again so that they can, it's the final step in them getting their PhD. We also have a practicum program, and those interns come from all over the country. The practicum program we have is specifically for graduate students in the TWU psychology department, either PhD students or master's students. And each year we typically take 4 of those students, and they apply, and it's a competitive process as well, but they're still in graduate school, they're still taking classes, and they only work about 20 hours a week for us. But they do see clients. So our trainees see a great deal of clients, and then they are supervised by licensed psychologists.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Do you have events that are hosted through CAPS?
We do have events that are hosted. A lot of the outreaches that we do and a lot of the workshops and presentations that we do are because we are invited. You know, a professor invites us to come in and lecture on something, a student group asks us to come in, or there's like an event going on campus and they want a mental health component, and we'll come to those events. In terms of our freestanding events, we are very devoted to issues of multiculturalism and diversity. And so one of the things that we offer in the fall and the spring is called Diversity Institute, which is a workshop and a training that we do that's about 4 to 5 hours long. We typically have around 30 to 40 people, and we spend the day really delving into issues of diversity and doing a lot of experiential activities, increasing your self-awareness around your own biases, learning how to work with people who may come from a different background. It's one of our most popular programs, and people really enjoy it and benefit from it. We know that now we have a global economy that we're dealing with. So when you go out in the world of work, you're going to be working alongside people who may be very different from you in some of their identities. And so, you know, having some awareness of like, okay, how am I going to navigate that can be really helpful. So that's one of our main programs. And then we also offer ally training. Which is a training that we do a couple of times a year in terms of helping students become allies for the LGBTQ community. And that's also a very popular program that a lot of students go through, and staff and faculty as well.
Awesome. We've got about 5 more questions.
Okay.
Are there any virtual online services for online students?
Well, yes. Right now, everything is telehealth. In terms of specific resources for online students, we have a section on our website that's called mental and well-being. And basically, in that section on our website, there are 3 different areas. The first area is just different meditations that you can go and do online when you're just needing to decompress, help you with stress management, help you with relaxation. We also have a list of like the most popular mental health apps that you can use on your phone. And that's something I recommend to students all the time, because we're all always on our phone, and it's great to be able to pull it up and do a meditation in the midst of a really hectic day. Then we also have a list of self-help materials. You know, if you're having problems with, like I said earlier, test anxiety, or you're struggling with feelings of low self-esteem, there's a whole variety of topics on there. So those are accessible to all students. Historically, if we have an online student who needs some therapy services, we would figure out where they are at in terms of where they live in Texas, and then do our best to hook them up with a therapist in their area, since most people prefer in-person therapy.
All right. Will you be put on a wait list if you come in during the second semester?
You may be put on a wait list right at the beginning of the semester as we close out the wait list from the fall. So what happens is we during the break over December and January before we come back to school, anybody that was still on the wait list, we contact them, we get them in, and once we get them in and we get them settled, and then we start taking new people for the spring. So there may be a small wait list in the spring, but as long as you come in, early February, you should be okay. And then we also have advertising, and everything is on our website, just in terms of our therapy groups and how to register for those and when those start. And so all of that information is there for you as well.
Thanks. What type of counseling would you suggest for grief, group or individual?
Interestingly enough, we have offered a grief group several times, and it tends to be pretty full, and people really benefit from it. So I may, if we offer that group, it kind of depends on the semester what groups we offer. That would be a really appropriate referral. They do a lot of just psychoeducation about the grief process and helping with coping. I think it's incredibly powerful to be in a setting like that where other people are having a shared experience, because grief is such a powerful thing. If there were also other issues going on that I assessed to be important, then I may offer or refer some individual sessions in combination with the grief group.
Since we're talking about group, there's a question that says, for the group sessions, how often do they usually meet?
The groups meet every week. And some of the groups that are more like psychoeducational focus in terms of like coping with anxiety, and we meet for an hour, we talk about skills, we practice the skills, those are typically an hour long. Our other groups that are more process oriented, groups that are really about learning more about yourself, learning how to interact with other people, those tend to be an hour and a half group. We call those like process therapy groups, where the 1 hour groups are more psychoeducational skills based groups.
All right. I think this is in reference to maybe the internship or practicum question. I'm not sure, but it says, what happens if I'm going to be majoring in nursing, but I want to become a psychiatric nurse practitioner for my career? So is it only open to psychology majors, or can nursing majors apply for this as well?
Our program is only open to counseling and psychology majors. And again, it's graduate students. If you were wanting to do psychiatric nursing and you got into the nursing program and end up in Dallas and Houston, they offer a wide variety of clinical practicum sites where you would be able to practice psychiatric nursing.
All right, that seems to be all of the questions that we've gotten so far. Any other questions?
Okay. From admissions, are there any questions
Oh,
that
we
you
just,
have,
we just,
Christina?
I see another question really quickly. Do you know about the application waiver?
I don't know about the application waiver, but I know that that's a question that they can answer for you in admissions. If you qualify for that, they can. There's Christy. You want to answer that?
Sure. So I believe my admissions team will kind of write it in the chat, but application fee waivers will be applied to your application automatically. You have to make sure that you are registered for this event. So if you've already registered for the event, you are good to go. Our Office of Admissions Processing will apply it to your application. That is if you've already applied. If you have not applied as of yet, All you need to do is submit the application. And on page 10, which is the last page of your application, it'll ask you for different options of your application fee and how you're going to pay for that. The third option is going to be an application fee waiver. So just click on that and hit submit, and you are good to go.
Great. Thank you, Christy.
You're welcome. Does anybody else have any questions for Dr. Lucero Miller or for Dr. Rodriguez?
We got a comment.
Yeah, thank you, Megan.
Just a quick plug for the services that I offer also. So, you know, in being a housing psychologist, I'm embedded in the different dorms on campus, and I have an office in Gwynn Hall, but also do services over in Parliament Village. We'll do some programming at Lowry Woods, and we'll also be there in Stark. And so we do weekly events. We have weekly groups or drop-in like groups sort of, and drop-in hours are available as well. And so I also will partner with some other departments through housing to offer different events and different presentations on maybe mental health issues, or like Dr. Lucero Miller was talking about in regards to anxiety. A lot of times I'll partner with the academic support office for things like that. So make sure if you're thinking about living on campus that you keep me in mind in regards to the different services that are available to you as a student.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Rodriguez. And I want to give her a plug as well. If you're going to be in housing, you've got your own therapist there. That's a good deal. And she's awesome. Lots of good programming as well.
We received one more question, and it's from Kylie. Where is the main office located for therapy?
The main office is West Jones Hall on the Denton campus. And that's across from the new Parliament Village at the corner of Bell and Administration Drive.
All right. If no one has any more questions, this will conclude our counseling services session. Our admission staff will be available to answer any last-minute questions that you may have. Again, thank you to all of those that presented and as well as that participated in today's session. Be sure to tune in tomorrow, April 24th, for our final online Pioneer Preview. The fitness and recreation will be occurring at 12 p.m. and at 3 p.m. will be our athletics preview sessions. Again, thank you all that participated and presented in today's session. I hope to see you all tomorrow.
Thank you.